morning, everybody. You know, it's always great to hear good things about yourself. And thank you very much. So, I don't know where I am or where I'm coming from or am I this big or whatever, but acha lagta hai. And especially coming sandwiched between, like stalwarts or people whom you really respect. Pawan, old friend, Gulcharai ji, Deno Saab. So, I'm privileged to be sandwiched between these people. And the difference that I would sort of present over here is that I come from a practical school of thought. I'm neither a legal guy, nor a cybersecurity guy, nor a PhD, nor anything. I have a PhD, yes, but from the school of hard knocks. So, maar kha ke seekhta hai aadmi. So, Pawan, just to recap on what you said, all is well, but UPI hai, but we should develop capacity and capability, but. So there's a lot of buts in whatever you say, and that is going to be what I would sort of bring over here, trying to talk about some of the buts and how are we securing India. We are secure, yes, but we have all those laws which you talked about. I have not read them, by the way, but I do know what they mean. 15, 20 years of doing this business, and you sort of keep on knowing, like I said, hard knocks, So you keep on understanding that, oh, this means this, and then you hear Pawan and say, oh, ye bhi hai, Eureka moment. But anyway, and for the defense personnel, one small thought which I thought I'd bring to the table, maintaining peace is more difficult and expensive than war. Think about it. Because another problem is that we confuse peace with control. Okay? And all that you control in life is how you respond to life. Our controls are just this much. And we have to prepare ourselves much better to be able to respond. Let's take NDRF going to Turkey. Now they just couldn't just pack their bags and go there. They have to be prepared. They have been doing this. Just 2 units were picked up who went there. So they have been spending a lot of time. And I'm sure the defense gentlemen over here, generals can tell us that yes, preparing and keeping yourself active in peace is much more difficult than war. उस टाइम तो सोचने की जरूरत नहीं, गोली मारनी है. But anyway, so thank everybody, thank you Deepak ji and thank you VARINDIA for calling me and giving me this audience over here and to present my common man views over here. Okay. So to set the context, which I've already done, my 20 minutes of fame over here, under the sun. Okay. So I don't have any solutions to present, frankly speaking. I give solutions only to my clients. ये ISO है, ये RBI है, ये SEBI है, ये चाहिए उनको, आप ये ऐसा करिए. And I don't think I'm qualified enough to really put a solution to people like you over here who know much more better than me and have seen that, much, much more than me. But yes, I would like to talk about some problems which I have. I call them my ailments. My ailments, or I should say, my cyber security takleef. There are lots of them, of course, but I'll just look at 3 paradigms which we always talk about in cyber security. People, process, technology. My first problem is people. तकलीफ है, बहुत सालों से चली आ रही है. One fine day, the government said 1 lakh बंदे कम हैं हिंदुस्तान में. That number has gone to about 5 or 10 lakhs today. Millions. People talk about, the newspaper says millions, but I don't like the zeros, so I don't know how to move the commas, तो मैं हमेशा लाख की बात करता हूँ, 10 lakh. And that is growing. The problem which I have is that what are we doing about it? For me, the benchmark of Indian cybersecurity, let us say, is the IT Act. The year 2000. Today we are sitting in 2022. We are still talking about that. General Saab, when he came in, he talked about, he used the word cadre. I heard the word cadre about 15 years back, 18 years back. At one time I was engaged with the Jharkhand police and we talked about cadre over there also. It was 17, 18 years back. कुछ भी नहीं हुआ. अभी भी हम cadre की बात कर रहे हैं. We are doing things. Yes, we are doing things. How long will we keep doing things? Until AIMS happens. or until the Kudankulam nuclear plant happens. अभी तो उन्होंने बोला कि भाई only admin machine was touched upon. वो तो उन्होंने बोला. A person like me looks between the lines and the words and the letters and sees much more over there. It's like a lawyer sees much more in the law than I would see. I would read it. Big difference. So this is like a game. Cyber security, sir, is a game basically. Somebody is playing something, we don't know who's playing against us. We go on the pitch, कि बंदा जो स्पिन मारेगा, गूगली फेंकेगा, okay, bouncer डालेगा. What happens? He comes and there's an underhand. आप out हो गए. You cry foul. Whom do you cry foul to? The problem is that the pitch which we are playing on, it is our own pitch, but we have not even prepared that pitch. And we talk about capability, and we talk about capacity. No way. Neither will we have capability, nor will we have capacity. And we can keep on talking about it all our life. So this is, in spite of all the solutions, in spite of all the treatments, in spite of all the artificial intelligence, AI and ML which we have. Someone talked about ChatGPT. Why are we so scared about ChatGPT that it has hogged the headlines over the last few weeks? Just because it talks to you in the same language. Very, very easy. Pawan, you didn't ask him the next question. You should have framed your question differently and said, okay, but what can be a normal national problem? Then you would have told him, I don't believe you. Then you said, yes, great, but you have made this mistake. You can go 30, see, it is talking to you. 40 or 50 questions later, you talk about it, about the very first question, response it gave you. But you told me that you don't know about India. No, I know about India, but this is. Again, that is what it is. Better memory than you and me. And AI has been around for how many years now? I remember we were talking about SIM implementation in one of the large banks, and at that time the OEM said, we have now enabled ML and AI. Adaptive, it has become adaptive. That word adaptive is still a brand new word today. So, ChatGPT is something which any common man is now using it. Now, that is the reason why you're scared about it. Because it was supposed to be basically something which a common man shouldn't be knowing. Then the reason is what? Again, I'll go back to the CISOs and the IS managers and the IT team. How many tools do we have in our organization? SIM, DLP, SOAR, NAC, SOC bhi hota hai, right? Firewall, IDS, IPS, and whatever, you name it, it's there. At the end of the day, has anyone looked at the utilization of the tool? Everyone whom we talk to, or whom I have spoken to, or whom I have seen also, SIM implementation, 50 to 60% or more. The return is not what you expect. It's not as it's written in the book. Then what do? There is an old saying over there also. A fool with a tool is always a fool. So are we fools? Or are we being made a fool? When I'm promised the sun and the moon, कि ये आपका जो है सब कुछ देख लेगा, and it will stop everything at the gateway. Doesn't stop, still happens. AIM still happens. At one time we used to think that firewall लगा दिया, we are okay. Today we are told firewall लगा दिया, कोई बात नहीं, IDS लगाइए, उसको यहाँ रखिए. But nobody talks about awareness. It is one area which is, I would say, that the smallest number on your budget. It is the one area which is given to your HR and your training department, for which every training is a cost. And it is the first thing to be axed. But it is the most important thing for every user, forget the technical guys, for every user to know how things go wrong and why they go wrong and what should I do to look at things going wrong. Then we talk about capacity and this thing. Where will they come from? Where will our people come from? Gen Z, the young generation. That is our hope. Yes. Again, what have we done to nurture our hope? to make them strong. How many colleges or how many institutions, how many universities in this country are offering UG or PG courses in cybersecurity? You can count them on your fingers. You can count them on your fingers. Are those programs as strong as the mechanical or the electrical or the operational technology, any of the other engineering courses? No. 99% of those programs are in colleges which don't have labs. The lab which is there is open source, maybe on some old machine. The syllabus which is there is a rehash, it's a ghote of CH and other programs, and is made from there. The trainers are academics. I don't discount those academics, but what is the real world experience? And I'll tell you why real world experience or even soft skill experience comes into play. I hire freshers only for the last 15 years. My freshers don't know. They know how to use Word, but they don't know how to format a tape, the document. Give them a document of 50 pages, nahi malum. Table banana nahi aata. Now, all of you, if you look back into your own, I would say, life and your coming into cybersecurity, it's not just about the soft skill. It's also about the technology skill. What did you learn? What did you learn in the training? What did you learn in the education? And what do you learn after that? When you landed up at your first job, you were totally wet behind the ears. You had to go through the training. Your company had to spend 2 or 3 months to tell you what it is. You did not know what an audit was. Maybe you knew only what VAPT is. Beyond that, there's big life beyond that. So what we need, or what the nation needs, is not just, can we stop talking? We need a league of real, I would say, young men and women, remarkable young men and women is what we need. We need to nurture them and bring them up. We need the government to give some money to these institutions to buy software and put in hardware. None of the boys or girls who have worked with me and gone abroad have even thought a second time about going abroad. There are 1 or 2 institutions, yes, they have got a lot of very good equipment and they have developed stuff also. But otherwise, I would say the report card is pretty bad. The second problem, cyber, I would say, ailment which I have is process. Is that people? Process. So process is again, we have very impressive statistics as far as FIRs and reports are concerned. But as we all know, sitting over here, I think it's something which is not secret knowledge. What we see, the numbers which you see are what, 20% of what actually happens. How many of us report? How many of our clients have reported? 80% clients don't report anything. It's swept under the carpet. But in any case, the numbers are still impressive. And what I call it the ikka dukka. The ikka dukka incidents that make it to the media headlines are usually media cooked. So you give them a word and they'll give you one paragraph over that. In any case, what I don't understand is that why are we late as far as regulation is concerned? We've been talking about data privacy or data protection or reporting or whatever. A CERT guideline made big waves, is still making big waves, still being discussed. Pawan mentioned 6 hours, he didn't mention logs. But there are so many things in that which are said, yes, karo ye. Kaise karo, kyun karo? Did CERT give the, I would say, detailed guideline on how to sync your clock with the NIC? No. They said, karo. They gave it an FAQ. How many people read it and how many people used it? I'll go back another 8-10 years. RBI cyber security guidelines. I have a question over here. Just raise your hand. How many of you know the difference between information security and cyber security? Raise your hand, sir. We talk about it in the same this thing. Cyber security, information security. Information system audit, information security audit. Has anybody explained to you? There is a regulatory requirement that you should do an information system audit and that you should do an information security audit. Once a year, at least twice a year. Cyber security audit must be done, RBI बोलता है. Guideline है उसका. Information security audit, information security guidelines, guideline है उसका. 300 पेज का डॉक्यूमेंट है. But RBI has never explained to you what is cyber security and what is information security. Please go and check on the internet. If you don't get confused, I will buy you dinner. Sir, I have been trying to actually get the Eureka moment for the last so many years. और यूरेका का भी स्पेलिंग सिर्फ EU पे आया हूँ और थोड़ा आगे जाना है. साइबर सिक्योरिटी, इंफॉर्मेशन सिक्योरिटी. बट बात करते हुए you all say cyber security. Maybe we have to do an RTI, RBI, they will again have a confusion in their own thing. वो कोई नया रेगुलेशन निकाल देंगे और वो अलग रिस्क है. So that is about process. Then RBI says localization करो. The draft bill says मत करो. Trusted entities. मतलब this is, what are we doing? Are we playing games? Like I said, we are playing on our own pitch. Our own pitch is, messed up. So if somebody comes and does an underhand ball, why are you worried about it? Then okay, just stepping back for a moment into people again. Which people are those today in the cyber world or in the cyber crime area? Who are those who scare us the most? Anyone? Okay, I'll tell you. They're the people who send us messages every day or call us and tell us कि तुम्हारा account बंद हो जाएगा और आपका जो है ये income tax refund आया, आप यहाँ करिए, आप ये OTP दे दीजिए. Those are the people we are scared of most because they are the ones who are making great money and books have been made about them and movies have been made about them also. हम सबका number आएगा, correct? And who are they? Uneducated people, uneducated boys and girls living in some village somewhere and doing it on a large scale. But we don't want to hire anybody who is not an engineer. I hired some B.Tech mechanical. बेचारे को IP address नहीं मालूम क्या था, वो सिखाना पड़ा. और यहाँ पर IP की जरूरत नहीं है, बंदा जो he can come and socially engineer you. And what do I do when I'm doing red teaming or something? My first job is social engineering. I call it red teaming. That poor kid in the village doesn't know what red teaming is. And I have never had the, I would say, thought about going and teaching him or bringing him back. The last is technology, another area. I won't talk much about here because we don't have a lot of time anyway. And of course, I don't want to bash that area a bit too much. Sponsors होते हैं technology के. So, और दीपक साहब ने बुलाया है, दीपक साहब बोलेंगे क्या टेक्नोलॉजी की तुम बात करते हो, right? So, but yes, one thought I had for the security professionals. This is Santosh Anand, a lyricist in the 1920s in Bombay. He wrote this 2 lines and they touched me because it applies to practically every cyber security guy who's working in the trenches, on the front lines, whatever you may say. हर आग से वाकिफ हूँ, जलना मुझे आता है. So I think that sort of sums up every single cyber security guy who's working, whether in private or government sector. So our factory settings are changing, or what we call default settings हमारे change हो ही गए हैं, on a daily basis change होते हैं. So that is my last words over here is that we eat culture for breakfast, lunch and dinner. हमारी कल्चर है ये. ब्रेकफास्ट लंच एंड डिनर ऐसा करो. कोई बोलता है खड़े होकर पूजा करो, कोई बोलता है बैठ के पूजा करो, कोई बोलता है अगरबत्ती जलाओ, कोई बोलता है धूप बत्ती जलाओ, कोई बोलता है हवन करो, व्हाटएवर, राइट? So we eat culture for lunch, breakfast and dinner. So that's our strength as well as our weakness. So, and one of the cultural issues which we love, is that we love our problems. जो तकलीफ है ना हमारी, मेरी तकलीफ, आपकी तकलीफ, we love our problems. But we don't go to therapists. We don't go to therapists. We'll go to a Baba. Right? So you will not pay me 1 lakh rupees a day. You will pay 10 lakhs to a big four or whatever. But if I go, you will say 1,000 rupees. Sabzi mandi chal rahi hai. Whatever I pay you, you have to divide by 10 or 100. That is our culture. So because when you go to therapy, जनता बोलती है पागल हो गया. So your reputation suffers. But when you go to a Baba, it's like पूजा करने गए हैं, सब ठीक हो जाएगा, So, but of course, even though we read the dark side about Babagiri every day, we really are not worried about that because ये हमारा बाबा ये बुरा नहीं है. So मेरा बाबा तुम्हारा बाबा, very different thing. But yes, that's our culture. So I leave you with that. But of course, life is not as black as I'm putting it out to be. थोड़ा grey है, like not 50 shades, but 30-40 shades तो है ही है. And so we have to be careful over there. And of course, we are in security. We know हमारी लक्ष्मण रेखा कहाँ पर है, and we know how to cross it. So I think we'll all remain safe. So thank you very much for your 20 minutes for me. I leave you with that.